girls, welcome back to Watch the Time. Thanks for tuning back in. Thanks for coming back to see me. I'm really pleased you've done so, and I'm really pleased about to bring you my first Undone watch. Hopefully not my last, but my first Undone watch. They contacted me on Instagram, excuse me. They asked if I'd be happy to feature one of their watches. They gave me the choice of any watch. There's a few that looked fantastic, but I did want to opt for the one that had personalization, because it looks like to me your watch, your way, absolutely outstanding. So much you can change about it. You'll see on the one that I've got, I've put WTT on the dial for Watch the Time, and on the case back, absolutely outstanding. I've got my logo. They've done an outstanding job with how they've applied this stuff. Lots and lots to like. Generally, good proportions, good specs, and like I said, your watch, your way, which I love because you don't get that a lot of places. So hopefully by the time we get to the end of the video, you'll know if it's for you. If it is, please use the link in the description. If it's not, hopefully I'll feature something before or in the future that is more in keeping with your taste. But the range are Undone. I'm sure they got you covered. But yeah, with that being said, I'm gonna stop going on because it's about that time to get the camera turned around and get on with it. Right guys, so this is the watch. You'll see it's the packaging. You've seen the packaging in my sort of watch haul video. Outer sleeve. Inside you've got a magnet sort of holding it from the corner. There we go. Open it up, and inside you got the warranty card at the top. It wasn't signed off memory, which is a bit disappointing. But give me 1 second. Let me just take one of my gloves off because it'll make it easier to get the card out. Oh, it was signed. It's signed. Excuse me. There you are. So just the information on there. Yeah, do check that out. It's at the top when you open it. So yeah, pretty easy to get out. Obviously, it wasn't too easy me wearing gloves. You just pop it back on very, very quickly. So you can see that I've taken off 2.5 links for it to fit my wrist. You'll see that you'll be able to make that just there. You got the watch inside, nothing too special. The pillow is very comfortable. The rest of it is just sort of cardboard inside, just to keep it safe in transit. And then that's your lot. That's all you're getting, guys. Here is the watch. Let me just unscrew it quickly. It wasn't the easiest to unscrew. It's sort of like a hexagonal sort of nut, if you like, the crown. Let me just give it some charge because I have left it in the box now for a few days in preparation for the actual I'll screw it back up, excuse me. So in preparation for the review, I have left it sort of, and it's sort of lost charge. Let me get it to the sort of position I normally like it, sort of in and around here. So yeah, this is the Undone Cali. You can get quite a few different color variations when you go through the process of customization, because as I said, your watch, your way, your style with this sort of watch is kind of what I really like about it. I'll bring some information up next to me. You see, this is how it comes generally, and I'll just give you some video footage of the actual website itself. As I said, they've got a plethora of watches available. So I've gone for this one. They're not all customizable, so do look through them if that's really what you've got your heart set on when it comes to this watch. But yeah, lots and lots to choose from. They've always got sales going on. And like I said, there's going to be something, I'm pretty confident there's going to be something in keeping with your taste for all those watches. So there we are. Like I said, Undone Cali. Inside, it's running a Seiko NH35 movement. I'll bring some information up about that movement now. What can I say about the movement, guys? It's rugged, reliable. There is supreme reason they're using this movement in many, many watches just because of how reliable it is. 21,600 beats per hour, 24 joules, 41-hour power reserve, and they run bang on in terms of time. The parameter set out is quite wide, but in real life, they do run much, much better than that. So there we go. The construction of the watch, aside from the crystal on the front and back and the bezel insert, is all 316L stainless steel. So you've got a bit of coining on the bezel. You've got high polish predominantly on the case at the sides. You've got brushed at the tops. The bracelets, 316L stainless steel brushed, polished at the side, screw pins. You've got a milled clasp, which is nice to see, a bit hidden away, which we'll talk about as well. The outer part of the exhibition case back is 316L stainless steel, as I've said. Solid end links, quick release on there. And like I said, I showed you before, I do like the fact that you can customize it and like you've got my logo on the case back. But yeah, 316L stainless steel apart from the crystal on the front back and the bezel insert. The case thickness of the watch is coming in at 14.8 millimeters. In no small part because of that crystal. It's very, very domed. So do bear that in mind. The case diameter, I normally measure from the 8 to the 2. It was coming in at 40.2, and when you go from 9 to the 3, including the crown, it's coming at 43.8 millimeters. The lug width on this is 20. That does taper down to 16 mil at the clasp. As it's sort of integrated, it doesn't really go back out, but yeah, 16 mil at the clasp. The lug to lug, tip to tip of the watch, is coming at 48.1 millimeters. And when you include, spare me a second, guys, excuse me, of the center link, it's coming in at 52.9 millimeters. So that's the proportions, guys. So there we go. The bezel is a ceramic bezel, and it's a bi-directional friction bezel. So you're going to be able to get it to line up. There's going to be no issues. Very smooth in turning. Not too smooth, or it's stiff enough that it won't move generally, which is good. Otherwise, it will just get knocked in. Yeah, so the bezel was situated at 3 o'clock. It's sort of like a hex nut bezel with the U on there for Undone. High polished. Does make it a little bit more tricky to turn because it's a little bit slippery. And the case back, I already showed you before, it's screwed down. It's a mineral crystal at the case back. And yeah, just some information on there that you can put on there. Plus also it's customizable, as I've said already. So there we go. The bracelet has sort of 4 mils of taper and wears very, very comfortably in real life. The clasp is signed and it's milled, as I said, a bit hidden away. So there's no micro adjustment, but they do give you half links to sort of remedy that in terms of getting the right fit for yourself. The crystal covering the dial is a bit of an unusual one. It's called Lexan Polycarbonate crystal. So it's a plastic essentially. So that should allow you to sort of buff out any scratches that you get. But I haven't got any yet. So it's not as scratchable as some sort of plastic crystals you get. So that's all right. The crystal, the water resistance you better make out down at the 6 is actually tested. You says, as it shows you at the back, it's pressure tested to 100 meters. That's 330 feet. Also has 10 atmospheres, and the weight will appear in the top right. With those 2.5 links out, it was coming at just below 133 grams. So not inconsiderable amount of heft, but not too heavy either. But let's have a look at the dial in just a bit more detail. So what you've got is you've got a minute track going around the outer edge, sort of like a train track, if you like. Inside that, you've got the California dial, which consists of, you've got Roman numerals at the top, Arabics down at the bottom. Pretty synonymous with that type of dial. Nothing's been applied onto the dial, guys. It's all been printed on. That's the numerals. That's the logo that I put on, obviously for watch the time. That's in white. You got 100 meters, 330 feet automatic above the indice at the 6. Undone just below that. That's synonymous really with how they do their logo, guys, in terms of they keep everything down at the 6 o'clock position. Usually it's sterile up at the 12, but obviously that makes it so that normally you can sort of customize it with what you like. The dial is really, really nice. I am a sucker for sort of a dial that has sort of things going on there. I think I've said that numerous times now. Sort of blue, like I said, you can have different colors. The hands are high polished, and you've got the sort of gilt inside that, as you have with the numerals as well, and with the bezel. I'll bring the loom up now. The loom is pretty decent, to be honest. I wouldn't say it's outstanding, but it's good. Yeah. So I wasn't sure what to expect with the loom, guys. To be honest, I wasn't sure, because sometimes with watches, ones that especially you can customize, you're not sure if it's going to be more style over substance, but that's definitely not the case with this watch. They're definitely producing some really, really good stuff, and the loom follows in that vein also. As I said, the movement inside is a Seiko NH35 movement. There is a ghost position. I've stopped really talking about the ghost position though. As you see, you take it all the way out of hacks, you put it back in, you put it out to the first position. You'll hear that because there is a date in there. I've got so there you go. But that's everything going on there, guys. That's the hands, indices, movement, all that good stuff. Let me just pop it on the wrist quickly, give you an idea of what it looks like on my wrist. Just bear with me 1 second. Okay, so guys, this is what I'm going to talk about. So this is what it looks like on my wrist. Really, really pretty thing. Very, very happy. You'll see it's a little bit looser than I would normally wear it. And that is predominantly because there's no real clasp on it. The clasp is sort of the clasp sort of integrated into the bracelet. So when you make it, if I was to realistically, I could do with another half link out of this, or maybe one more link, because like you see, it's very, very loose. But when I do that, if I take any more links out, I can't get it to pass my hand. So like you see, it's just about able to pass my hand now, which is unfortunate really, because I could do with maybe taking another link out, but it doesn't work in practicality. So there we are. Just give me 1 second. So yeah, as I say, it doesn't really work very well in practicalities because of that. But yeah, anyway, that'll now take me on to what I think is pants and pucker about the watch. If you've ever watched before, you know always start with pants. I like to go on high with pucker. So what I think is pants. It's not a huge amount, but there are a few things I do want to mention, and I've sort of stumbled across them, or I've mentioned them as we've gone through the video. So what I will say is I'll go with the crystal. I was under the impression it was a sapphire crystal, if I'm honest. So it was news to me when I found out it wasn't. So like you say, you see where it sort of flattens out in the middle. I wouldn't say I'm really a big fan of that, to be honest. That's something I noticed when I got the watch out. I wasn't really too big a fan of that sort of. But yeah, it's not been scratching up too badly. But the crystal, and like I said, the way it flattens out in the middle of the crystal, not really for me. The crown, as I've said, where it's high polished, although it's sort of a hex nut sort of design, it does make it sometimes quite difficult to sort of screw and unscrew in my experience. So it may be it maybe just doesn't need to be high polished. That might make it a bit easier. And as I said, the sizing with the links and stuff, where the clasp is integrated really into the bracelet, it doesn't give you much length with the clasp itself. So that makes it quite difficult to get it to fit. So yeah, they're the three things. I'll go with the crystal, crown, and the sizing. What I think is pucker, quite a bit more still, to be honest. I like the dial. I have touched upon that as well. I do like the way they've done the dial, the sort of texture. It's very cool. The loom, yeah, the loom's decent on this watch. I wasn't sure what to expect. Sometimes that is one area that companies sort of cheap out a little bit, but Undone haven't done that here. The case back, I love that. I love the fact that they've managed to put my logo underneath the crystal. Um, yeah, really, really cool. Love it. The bracelet itself is super comfortable, very, very easy to size out. You need a bit of a narrow screwdriver to do it because it's quite narrow at that point, but yeah, works really, really well in terms of how it fits on the wrist and if you size it up and stuff. Very, very cool. The general look of the watch, I think it's a winner. I think it looks really, really nice. I like the California dial. I've never had a watch with that on there. Um, yeah, I think it's got a lot going for it. The blue really pops. So yeah, the general look and the customization. Like I said, your watch, your way, everything like that. I think it's super, super cool. The fact that you can actually customize it to a point where it's your watch. Do you understand what I mean? You can do enough to it that it makes it quite unique to yourself. So yeah, the customization you can have. So they're the things I mentioned for Pucker is I'll go with the dial, loom, case back, bracelet, general look, and the customization that you can do on the watch. And that'll take me on to would I recommend the watch? I really would. I'm not saying it's the cheapest. I'm not saying there's probably not other stuff out there, but I think Undone are doing some great stuff. This watch looks fantastic. I'm really happy to have it in my collection forever now. It's a one of one for me, and it's really nice that I've had the opportunity to get this in and sort of commemorate my channel and something that in the future, long after maybe my channel is no longer here, this watch will still be going. So yeah, I would recommend it. But guys and girls, as always say, please let me know what you think about this watch. More importantly, and maybe any other watches you may want to see on the channel. And as always say, don't forget to like, subscribe, and always watch the time. Take care, guys. All the very best.